also known as Blissfully Mindful, back at you with another Mindful Living Chit Chat. How are you all? You all know my background. Well, I don't know if you do, but my background is in counseling, psychology. So it's so funny because for a lot of time, I wondered like, why did I pick that, area to kind of gain some expertise in, so to speak. But it's so interesting, I feel like everything happens for a divine reason, and I suppose mine was helping people to identify and process trauma. I used to feel like that's so depressing, like why would anybody want to even do this for a living? But for me, I guess when I can do it in a setting that's more comfortable, more just normal, conversational, and going on with the camera, I guess it's trying to focus. I'm trying to let it. So yeah, just wanted to kind of chit chat a little bit about that today, because honestly I had some observations this week. There's so many people processing trauma and not even really realizing it, or not even identifying it as that. And not to put labels, because I don't like those. I hate labels. That's one of the areas of psychology that I might have to say I'm not so crazy about, is the labels. A lot of times we give these things these labels, and when we do that, we give so much life to them, and that in turn causes us to manifest it in several different ways. One thing about trauma is sometimes what I noticed is, and particularly this week, it kind of stood out for me, is that so many of us aren't even able to identify that we are processing trauma. And how are you processing trauma? It could be anything. It could be, your eating habits. It could be relationships, unhealthy though they may be at times. Maybe maybe you're a workaholic. There's so many ways to process trauma. It may not look like it's you processing trauma to you, so you're not even consciously aware of the fact that that's what's going on, and that's what you're possibly doing. If you can't identify it, you're not seeing the need that you need to heal, that you need to let go and release these things. So that's what I was noticing this week. Like, how are you processing trauma? Are you processing it by way of eating, overeating, or not eating enough, or any kind of eating disorder? Are you processing it that way? Are you processing it in your relationships by just getting in one unhealthy relationship to going from one unhealthy relationship to the next? Are you in a really A-type personality, just like a workaholic, working like work? Is that, because that is definitely a way of processing trauma? Is it you having to constantly be in a state of inebriation, where you just have to escape, this escapism? Or is it you being a victim all the time? That's definitely a way of processing trauma that you may not even identify as such, but it really is. Trauma impacts all of us differently. We all process it differently, but for the most part, I just want to kind of focus more on, because we all know we know what trauma is. When an event occurs in your life that is traumatic, whatever it is, whether it's emotional, sexual, physical abuse, whether it's parents going through a divorce, whether it is just a parent who's down on their luck and unfortunately you bared witness to them kind of spiraling. It could be anything. There's so many different ways that trauma happens. Or it may be something like, for me, in my case, I experienced trauma indirectly. I experienced it looking at family members go through very traumatic events. That was traumatic for me, just because those are close family members. You have to identify that the trauma even occurred, first of all. You have to then process that. What does that look like? How am I acting the impact of that trauma out? Because that's what happens. That's what the mind does. It internalizes the trauma, and then it kind of recreates it by way of you acting it out in some way or another. And that's what I'm saying with the eating disorder, or the unhealthy relationships, whatever it is, or the victim mentality, or disposition, any of those things. That's how you're acting it out. This is all, life is a big old script. We are all acting it out. I have definitely had to bear witness and help family members who are at that very extreme level. You know, I have had suicide in my immediate family, and all result of this trauma. So when I say I've indirectly been impacted by the trauma, that's what I'm saying. You know, like, I mean, it's been just as traumatic for me, just because these are people that I care about, that I love. They are my family. And, you know, it's not always that easy just because you're not the one that went through it. So if you're out there and you know someone is going through trauma, help them process it, and then help them let it go. Maybe if you just do something symbolic, because the letting it go opens you up to life. That trauma is paralyzing you. It's stopping you from living. You can't live with that trauma, because the thing is, you're not actually living. Even when you think you are, all you're doing is you're recreating it over and over and over and over. And life hasn't even started. You don't even know what life feels like yet, because you're just still living in that trauma. You're living in the pain of it. And the only way to get past that is to let it go. And for me, the best way to do it for me is just something symbolic. I don't know if you all have checked out, I don't really talk about this book that much, but this is a book that I wrote, Borrowed Eyes. It's probably one of my most popular ones. Almost me living the trauma via the other person. So that's why I named it Borrowed Eyes, because I felt like I was living that trauma, having to hear about it, having to kind of help someone work through it, you know, my entire life. And this person that, because I'm, you know, hey, I guess I actually say it in the book, the person I'm talking about is my mom. My mom went through a very traumatic childhood. You know, I have my entire life seen her go through so many highs and so many lows, mostly lows, unfortunately, and have had to kind of be there for her to help her through it. My mom, she's been a phenomenal mom. She is definitely my shero. For what she has gone through, I don't know how she's done it, but she's managed to raise me and, you know, protect the wholesomeness and the sanctity and the goodness and the blissfulness of my life. You know, that's what she has done for me. So instrumental in that, and I definitely will always appreciate and adore her so much for that. My mom is ride or die. You know, I don't care what she's gone through. Even when in her darkest moments, she will pull herself out of it as best she can and be there for me. She's always, you know, been there for me. And even when, you know, because there are times, okay, when it is very, very difficult to live with my mom and her trauma, you know, that unfortunately I can't say that my mom has been able to let it go, you know. So, you know, we're still working. We're still working through the letting it go process, but I swear to goodness, we are getting there. That's the good thing, you know. I was with her this weekend, and I saw that little spark, and I felt like, wow, you know, I think she really might be able to finally kind of let this thing go. I'll put the link in the description box below. You can definitely order my book if you're someone that has gone through trauma. This book, I left it all on the page. I'm gonna tell you that right there. That was my letting go. My letting go was writing this book, and I left it all on the page. I literally did. And then from there, I just had to heal from it myself, because I had to heal from it so I could be there for my mom. She's always there for me. I gotta be there for her, you know. If for someone that hasn't gone through the trauma, it's kind of difficult to hear about it and stuff like that from someone else that has gone through it. It's very difficult, because it's like you just can't fathom that anyone can go through things so horrific. But it happens, you know, it literally does. And, you know, I consider myself a healer, whether it be an emotional healer, a spiritual healer. I definitely consider myself a healer. I do know that is why I am here. There's no coincidence that I chose to go into counseling psychology. That is definitely something that falls in line with my divine path. And Borrowed Eyes, like I said, it is a heavy read. I will give you that disclaimer, because it is a very heavy read. It does take you literally through the trauma, but it definitely also takes you on to the other side of it. So that, you know, I cannot leave y'all hanging like that. I'm not about to leave you like hanging in the stratosphere of trauma. So no, not gonna do that. That's not my work here. I'm not here for that, you know. So, you know, I definitely get you to the other side of it. And many people have found lots of healing from this book. So, you know, I'm definitely putting that out there as well. As heavy as it is, it's very therapeutic. So I'll definitely put the link to the book in the description box below. So I have that for you. I hope it helps someone out there as usual. Even though this is a heavy topic, you know, I feel like I still wanted to kind of keep it blissful. You know, it's something we need to be mindful of. At the same time, we don't have to lose the bliss in life because of trauma. Don't let it suck the bliss out of your life. It's not worth it. And you didn't come here for that. You came here to discover the bliss. The traumatic event was just a part of that process. And at the same time, before you leave, you're supposed to have worked through to get to the other side of it. So that's where I come in to get you to the other side of it. Into some bliss, into some goodness, into actually enjoying this life. That is why you came here. You came here to be a joy in the world, to feel the love in the world. Love is what you came here for. So I hope that you all are feeling the love that I'm putting out there with even making this video. I had some doubts about making it at first, you know, because like I said, I like to keep it blissful here, and this isn't not blissful. It's part of the path to bliss. So it's got to be included. So that's what I did. I hope you all enjoyed it. I have got to shout out, I am Carol Graham, a member of our community. I love you. I love you. I love you. I appreciate you so much. You have the most warm, beautiful spirit. I can feel it through your comments. Keep them coming. I truly appreciate you. And I just had to tell you that because, you know, I like to just let you know, you all out there, I see you. I see you in the comments, and I'm going to start making that a part of our whole process here, you know, because I definitely want everyone to always feel appreciated. You all, I appreciate you all so much, especially, you know, my ride or die, you know, it's my OG subscribers, members of this wonderful community that we have built. You all are everything this community is. You know, it's not just me. Myself, I can't make the community. You all definitely are the community, and I'm so grateful and so appreciative of everything that you all are and what you have made this channel. Like, you all have done that. Thank you. It's what I wanted, and you all have definitely allowed me to see that come to fruition, and I appreciate you all so much. Just had to say that. I don't know if I say it enough, but I had to say it today. I will see you all next time. I love you so much. Sunflower smooches, peace and love, and I'll see you next time. Sunflower smooches.